I'm Theresa Vee, and this is the place to be if you are a spiritual love warrior who is here to change the world. Each month, I check in with our beloved archangels and guides of the highest light to see what advice they have for us in terms of navigating the energies of the time. And this month, they're talking about breaking through our spiritual ceilings. What are they, and what do we do about them? Stay tuned. We are here to experience. There is always going to be something that we are set to navigate through. And this can be very frustrating, especially for spiritual people, because we are constantly seeking that next profound spiritual experience. And we can get angry or upset and feel very disconnected if we can't reach that next level. But it's important for us to realize that after we have these profound experiences, we need time to integrate them. We need the space and the capability of integrating them. And when we, for a prolonged period of time, cannot reach our next spiritual experience, our next level of development, it means that we have not sufficiently created the conditions for integration in our lives. And our angels want us to understand this because we tend to turn this back on ourselves like we've done something wrong, we're not good enough, we're not practicing well. And the guides of light are saying, you are so devoted and you practice so well. But what needs work right now is your ability to sit in the in-between and to nourish yourself through that process. The tendency is to push yourself through to the next thing with a little bit of a sense of self-punishment if you haven't gotten there, instead of creating the conditions of self-love and self-nurturing that are necessary for the efficient integration of the energies that you just reached. The physical, the mental, and the emotional systems need to be strong enough to consistently carry that frequency of light. That is where the building comes in. When we hit those plateaus, our energy needs to go to nurturing those systems so that we can sufficiently develop in order to hold that next frequency of light. And on some level, we all intuitively know this, but when it comes down to actually creating the conditions, that's when it becomes hard. We constantly feel there's so much to do, so much to do, so much to do, and that hanging back and allowing the integration is not actually doing. There has been so much indoctrination about being selfless, about continuing to focus your energy outward instead of inward, if you're a truly spiritual being. And our guides are telling us that when you are depleted, you can't be of the highest service. And right now, it is truly necessary to lead by example, in that we reach those higher energies and we become able to embody them. And for us, this means radical self-care. And the sooner we go into that deep nourishment of ourselves, that radical self-care, the sooner we can integrate the energies and move on to the next spiritual experience, the next level. There's a spiritual ceiling that we continuously hit until we integrate and are able to move to the next place. There is also the tendency for spiritual escapism, especially when there's so much discomfort, just trying to get out of the body, trying to get out of the situation, trying to move above and through. In some cases, this is necessary, like moving above a situation to see a bigger perspective, to see the whole picture, is necessary when we're trying to hold space for something. But moving out of a situation just because it is too painful for us to deal with and then trying to avoid it, that's spiritual escapism. And that is the opposite of what we are being called into right now. We are being called into embodiment, because if we are not in the body, if we are not sufficiently integrated, then we will continuously hit that spiritual ceiling and repeatedly be in cycles of frustration and hopelessness and despair, because we're not able to make that connection and experience those beautiful energies we know are right there for us. So I ask you, please share in the comments, where are you stuck in any of this? Where could you use a little support? We all go through it, and by naming it, by giving voice to it, it allows our angels, it allows our guides, it allows our community to come in and hold the space for us to move through that. So if, for example, you're saying, I am stuck because I just don't have the time to nurture myself. Then your guides and your angels can come in with more clear guidance that will help you navigate that issue of not having enough time. So many of us, in fact, almost all of us, have these really long to-do lists. And we have the to-do lists for other people and then for ourselves and all the things. That's a beautiful part of who we are and how we're built. We also, though, have the to-do list of all of the things that we do to nurture ourselves spiritually, all of the things that we do for self-care. And sometimes that list gets really, really long and starts taking a lot of time out of our day. And it is a very joy-filled part of our day, but it can start to feel like work. There is resistance to self-care when it feels like work. There's resistance to anything that's supposed to bring us joy when it feels like more work, because we are already overtaxed, overspent. So our angels want us to know and want us to look at things we can do while we are doing all of the other things that will help us to take care of ourselves without having to consciously stop and do another thing. One of the things our guides are talking about right now is the use of music that calms us, that fuels us. So while we're doing anything, we can have music on in the background, even if it's very low. The vibration will work on the cells to nurture and to fuel them. Our cells have their own frequency. They carry their own coding. When that music works with the cells, our cells can start to vibrate more freely by releasing energies that are ready to go. If music is a distraction for you, find a way where you're not going to be overstimulated by it. These are things to think about, and to not use these tools in a way that takes you further out of balance, to bring yourself back to balance through their use instead. Music can bring us back into a more harmonic state of being, which will increase our clarity and our receptivity so that we can move through those integration periods more quickly. Part of the wonder of this planet is the beauty that exists everywhere. Beauty is a way to get us back to center, to deeply nurture ourselves. It's important to create beauty somehow in your day. When you connect in with your 5 earthly senses of sight, hearing, taste, touch, smell, that is a way to pull us into the moment. And when we are fully in the moment, we are in a meditative state. We are receptive. We are clear. These are ways for us to deeply nurture ourselves by connecting to the beauty around us. There are limitless possibilities to create experiences that speak to the beauty of the world. When we create these experiences and the appreciation for beauty, we move into a state of gratitude, we become fully present, and we tune into this physical experience, which is so missing for us so much of the time when we're practicing spirituality. It allows us to land the spiritual energy here and now, to ground it to our experience on this planet so that from there it can explode outward. And that is so much of the time the missing piece in our spiritual experiences. The missing piece of the integration is the ability to ground that energy so that it can take root and then it can grow from there. If we're just gathering these energies, yeah, it's great. We've experienced them, we're gathering them, we know they exist. But if we're really and truly working for the betterment of this planet, that energy needs to be grounded so that it can expand, so that it can be shared throughout the world, so that it can have the ripple effect. There might be situations in your life now that are very out of balance and have gotten out of balance over time, whether it be internal situations or relationships. And what they want you to take a look at is there anything at this point in time that you haven't tried that you can potentially try to bring this back into balance? That may be a yes, but if there's more than one party, this is going to involve work from both sides. So even if it's with your body, it's you and your body elemental working together. If it's a relationship, you and the other people in the relationship need to be working together to create a new outcome. If there is nothing else that can be done, it may be time to let go because it will continue to create imbalance. And the important thing is to let go with love. Sometimes that may mean that you are just detaching, pulling your energy out. because you are sensitive and empathetic, that's what it may feel like to you. Sometimes, though, that is the greatest way of loving the self, is you need to take your space to be able to establish a new boundary or to cut this situation off completely. While that may feel very unloving to you, look at the self-love that takes. Over time, you will reclaim all of that energy that you were putting into that connection, or that connection was draining from you. In the pulling yourself out of the situation, though, the invitation is to pray about the situation, to send love to the situation, or to ask the other people's guides, angels, divine team, support squad to be with them and to walk them through their process, so that you can then know that you have called in love to be with them and to be there for them. Sometimes this is the most powerful thing that you can do. You just might have to leave things behind, whatever they are, in order to regain balance in your life, which is really important right now. That is such a big deal, to get as close to balance as possible in order to integrate and to move on to our next level of spiritual experience and to regain personal integrity. What's next is being birthed, and it's being birthed through each and every one of us. What they're asking for us to do is to allow it to happen. There's been such a past of pushing to the next level, moving through all the things, doing all the processes, really making sure that we're doing. They want us now to allow, to be in a place of trust. The energy can flow through when we create the conditions in our life and in our experience to allow that energy to flow through. We don't necessarily have to know what it is that we are birthing through us. Our angels want us to know that we are consistently birthing soul light. So when we can be as aligned with our soul as possible, that energy can come through unimpeded, with clarity, with integrity, and consistency. When we can consistently hold and be the light at the highest level we can potentially hold and be at this moment, then we are doing our work in this world to the best of our ability. Our angels are begging us to make sure that we are nourishing ourselves properly so that we can do this. No matter what the circumstances of our lives look like, whether we're feeling alive, happy, in flow, or in the deepest despair, the old world is falling away, and our soul is behind that. When we can trust the process of our soul, it becomes a little bit easier for us in those moments of despair to see that point of light, to know that we are headed for that light, that this darkness and this despair won't last forever, that it is safe to honor the process and to allow it to unfold. And we can always ask our angels and our guides for more support. We are leading by example right now. As you heal, as you trust, as you move through things, you are doing so not only for yourself, but for the collective. This has always been true, but it has never been as true as it is right now. There were moments in our lives where we were doing this on a smaller scale. We were really working on ourselves. Those of us especially who have been in this for a while, you remember the times when you were largely working on this for yourself, and then that healing was sent out, and if everybody wanted to grab it, they could. But right now, as we heal these experiences, as we move through them in our lives and in ourselves, it is exponentially multiplied and sent out to the collective. This is a great big huge shift in the world. It has never been as important as it is right now to be balanced, to be well nurtured, to be in that state of being well cared for here, so that that energy can come through you unimpeded, so that you can reach your next level, so that the world can reach its next level. The angels want you to know that they are here and they support you every step of the way. Every step. You are never walking alone, especially at the times where you feel that you are. Call on them, allow them to help you in any and every way that they can. They have no limitations. They can be with everyone, everywhere at the exact same time. And if there are global situations that you feel really connected to, please call on the angels to intercede in those ways as well. Our angels are saying, you've got this. We've got you. And we have never, ever doubted you for one moment. That feels very complete from our angels right now. If you would like a deeper and more personalized connection with your angels, please join our next Angel Transformation Hour group reading. Inside this hour-long experience, the angels will bring forth messages and answer your personal questions. There's nothing too big or too small to bring here, and you'll be held in the love and the grace and the support of the angels the entire time. Plus, you'll be surrounded by a community of like-hearted, empathetic world changers just like you. I look so forward to connecting with you in that experience and in all of the other ways that we could potentially connect. Check out the links in the description of this video or in the comments section below. Until next time, take care of yourself and allow yourself to be held by your angels and your guides of the highest light. Bye, everyone.